This is part two of the cliff module build. In this part, we're going to be building the second floor back up again. So the first thing is we're building is the structure that's going to support the second floor or the first floor ceiling. This is all done with Technic bricks, and it's got some cantilever on the right side, but these plates that I'm putting on right now will help support that structures, since it is going to support the entire second floor and the roof and everything that we're going to put on the roof for landscaping. One thing you're going to notice is that light gray Technic bricks are not getting attached with those plates. In the final version, they will be, because it ended up being that gray, light gray Technic bricks had a tendency to pull out when the hanger module was removed from it. Now I'm just trying to determine where the window goes. This is the module with the window in it, but it actually will in the end be cantilevered out over the cliff. So, but I'm just trying to figure out where it is so I can continue to build the second floor walls. Again, we're using the 1x6x5 plates because they consume a lot of space very quickly. And they're a little bit more sturdy and easier to connect or tie together. So I have to apologize for the video. It's not exactly centered correctly. You're not going to be able to see a lot of the top for a while here. Still got a lot to learn about how to do these videos. When you don't use 1x6x5 panels, then we use the 1x2x5 brick or the 1x1x5 brick. And then I always try to put longer bricks across the different panels so that they're tied together. Let's try to build as much interlocking structure as possible in these walls. Double check it against the existing hanger platform module to make sure that the top is getting close to where it's supposed to be. And on top of that, the right side has to be recessed by 3 studs so that it mates up with everything else, which forces the right side to be somewhat cantilevered when the roof support gets put in, which we'll be doing here shortly. So in this particular case, I'm not using brackets on the walls for the plates that get put up for the horizontal attachments. I'm using the 1x4 modified bricks because that allows for everything to be right up against the wall. The brick or the bracket has a small thin area that forces it out, and I didn't want that in this. There's not that much space up here, so I didn't want to give up any more space than I have to. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is the column support for the glass divider. Um, So there's a, a glass section built out of 1 by 6 by 5 panels in transparent light blue. Uh, that's what all the minifigs stand behind as they monitor what's going on in the hangar platform area. In the original design, those that glass was just permanently put in. The problem with that was when the minifigures started messing up, it was hard to get in there to correct or reposition them. And on top of that, it just made life difficult. Um, so then the next version was these columns, but there was a hinge on one end. But then opening it up, it made it easy to get to, but that was constantly getting in the way of doing other things. So I finally decided that we're just going to do it, and they're just the glass plate's just going to snap in. Now here I'm trying to figure out that what I'm supposed to be doing is mirror images and not the same thing, and I'm almost got that figured out. Then these columns are going to get put in place. They'll snap into the floor, and then they'll also snap into the support structure on the top. Uh, they are built with just a single 1 by 2 style brick, even though it is a 1 by 2 by 5, and then some 1 by 2s on top of that. But it is flimsy, so they has to be supported pretty well. And then we're just going to snap in the front after we get these plates on the top. Keep everything in place, and then it snaps in and we're done. So this is what we're building. It's the module with the window in the front. And like I said, it really needs to be cantilevered out over the cliff. So some changes had to be done there to get the cantilever section put in. Uh, I'm not really a speed builder. I'm more of an iterative builder. So I'll put things together, take them apart, put them together, take them apart multiple times until I'm happy with what I've got. One of the things is there's a shelf that's going to go into this window, so I got to figure out where that's got to go and how it's going to get implemented. Again, as these pieces go into the wall, they need to be cross-connected so that they're extremely stable. Traveling in the car is highly vibration, and it needs to be cross-connected in a bunch of ways so that it stays together. Now to give it some form of like it looks like it was built out, I'm putting uh, inverted slopes on the bottom of the window area because then that'll slope back into the cliff. You can see there that the light gray Technic bricks were there. So the next thing is on the top we're going to use these box Technic parts and then this right angle Technic part. Now we'll use these two parts to construct a similar structure that we did on the first floor, second floor, first floor ceiling. We'll do the same thing to build a similar structure on the top. You'll have to build a beam that's the right length, and so no technic part is long enough to be the beam. So what we'll have to do is take multiple parts and build a beam long enough by connecting two sets of Technic bricks in parallel. I always try to put the longest part I can across the gap in the front. So in this particular case, there's there are 1x16s, and then there's a 1x16 behind it. This is out that gives the most support across the gap. Now you could just put pins in every hole, but I need to have at least two pin holes open for the hanger platform module to attach to, so they can't be everywhere. It's just trying to figure out exactly where the support beams are going to go. So what happens is these right angle bricks will get attached on the ends, and then the square box part will be in the middle. So it's trying to figure out where that goes to sort of spread out the four beams that will go back to the front wall to provide support. So if this thing is supported by four beams on the front wall, one section or one, the front beam will rest on the left wall, and the right side's going to rest on a part that goes out, but it's cantilevered out over three studs. So there needs to be some support in the back. Now, the next problem comes up is that we need the black pins only connect two bricks together, and so we need to have studs in the same place, so or pins in the same place. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the blue stud pins, which do three thicknesses, and we'll use them to be able to allow us to hook up the right angle on the box. Now it's just a case of figuring out where they all go, which ones are blue and which ones are black. It's a mirror image on each side of the beam, so it's not that hard once you figure out one side. The other side kind of like falls in place. Um, there, as you can see, that just pops on there, and that one goes on there once we figure out where the other blue pin is supposed to be. It looks like we don't have enough blue pins, so we'll go get some more. Now that we have enough blue pins, can start putting everything together. Except we forgot to put in the blue pins for the 4x6 box. Not hard, just time consuming. Now that we have these pieces all installed, what we do next is we're going to take 1x8 Technic bricks and attach them to the sides of the two right angle pieces, and then attach two of them to the box. And that will provide the support going back to the front wall. First, I'm just putting all the pins in. Then I can hook up the 1x8 Technic bricks. And that's what those bricks are what connects to the front wall, or actually sits on the front wall to provide the necessary support, along with the one on the left side. Again, it's hard to see, camera's not in the right place, but that's what happened. Double check it against the platform module, hanger module. Make sure everything lines up correctly. That everything is right both horizontally and vertically. All right, so now I figured out how to do the camera, it looks like. So we're back to finishing building the wall. So the biggest thing here is there's these modules that are on either side, and they're hooked together with 3 pins that are on permanently into that little interface module. So I need these 1x2 Technic bricks with a hole in them to make sure I'm in the right exact place that those things plug in. I don't want to build the whole thing and then find out that these modules don't fit or don't interconnect with each other. So now it's just a case of getting the wall to the right height so that it matches the platform module. Kind of looks like that's where we need to be. So let's go ahead and hook it up. A speed builder would probably know exactly what he's supposed to do there. I, on the other hand, have to try it a couple of times to figure out what's really there. Yeah, that looks much better. Looks like we're pretty close. Except there really needs to be a brick that goes out on that right wall and goes up underneath that front beam so it's holding it in place. There we go, something like that. The truth is, there's a walkway in the final product or final display. There's a walkway right there, and so therefore that's why the three-stud opening is there so that you can walk between the modules. We tried to make it as realistic as possible. We didn't always succeed, but we try. So that technique brick there on the with the hole in it's not in the right place. It kind of needs to match the other side. So now I'm going to rebuild this, make it right. Again, corner bricks to tie the sides, the front and side together. There we go. Get that brick in the right place. You notice on the right side there's a Technic brick on the front wall that's got a hole in it. That's for wiring. That's how I get the wiring up into the ceiling so I can have lights at the ceiling. There'll be more explanation about that in part 3. There you can see that it's cantilevered over on the right side and that there's 4 one-made bricks that go back to the front wall. Now, since this was a rebuild, otherwise I took the previous one apart, I'm still got some things that are together. One of them is the top of this window, which I kind of liked. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that back in there as is, or with minor modifications. That part I just took off actually has to come off because the module is too big to fit in the box with that. So that part actually pops off. It's only held on by about 4 studs and then comes off so it can go into the box. Now we get the roof on. All of these rebuilds on these modules actually ended up with the module being 2 studs longer or deeper than it previously was. And so the tops are obviously 2 studs short. So a little bit more plate has to go into this to finish the top off. Figuring out this little piece right here. And we're done.